Everybody, I'm glad you're joining in today. I used to say good morning, and I am learning that good morning is not maybe the best introduction for these because a lot of people are watching later, and that's great. If you are watching later on in the day, that's awesome. I have a few people that join me usually in the mornings, but I do want to remind you that the reason I do this is for you guys to be able to join in. And if you can't join in and you watch later on in the evening, or you watch later on in the day or after work or something like that, totally fine. But part of the reason why I did this was because I think people don't think they have time or need to create time to spend with God. And I did too. And so I want to challenge people to wake up a little bit early at 8 and dig into their word for a couple minutes before they start their day. That's why I do this. And if you can't do that, that's totally fine. But I would encourage you to try to, if you can, wake up a little bit earlier with me and dig into the word together. But yeah, that's all. So love you guys, and we're going to jump right into the end of John chapter 7 today because it's a little bit longer of a passage, but I hope you can read along with me today and get something out of it. So John chapter 7, Jesus had just pointed out the Pharisees' hypocrisy that made them mad. They wanted to kill him, so they're going to try to get him arrested. So that's where we are today. John chapter 7, verse 32. The Pharisees heard the crowd whispering such things about him. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees sent temple guards to arrest him. Jesus said, "I am with you for only a short time, and then I go to the one who sent me." Talking about God. "You will look for me, but you will not find me, and where I am, you cannot go." The Jews said to one another, "Where does this man intend to go that we cannot find him? Will he go where our people live scattered among the Greeks and teach the Greeks?" Which is interesting because that's what Paul ends up doing. But verse 36, what did he mean when he said, "You will look for me, but you will not find me, and where I am, you cannot come"? On the last day, so that was confusing to people, which makes sense. On the last day and greatest day of the feast, Jesus stood and said in a loud voice, "If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, as the scriptures have said, streams of living water will flow from within him." By this he meant the Spirit, whom those who believed in him were later to receive. Up to that time, the Spirit had not been given, since Jesus had not yet been glorified. That's very important based on Christian timeline of things happening. But we'll keep going. On verse 40, on hearing his words, some of the people said, "Surely this man is the prophet." Others said, "He is the Christ." Still others asked, "How can the Christ come from Galilee? Does not the scripture say that the Christ will come from David's family and from Bethlehem, the town where David lived?" That's true. Scripture did say that. And Jesus was a descendant of David, if you read your history. Verse 43, thus the people were divided because of Jesus. I have that one sentence highlighted and marked. Thus the people were divided because of Jesus. Jesus divides people sometimes. Some wanted to seize him, but no one laid a hand on him. Finally, the temple guards went back to the chief priests and Pharisees, who asked them, "Why didn't you bring him in?" So why didn't you arrest him? Here's the kicker. "No one ever spoke the way this man does," the guards declared. You mean he has deceived you also?" the Pharisees retorted. "Have any of the rulers or of the Pharisees believed in him? No. But this mob that knows nothing of the law, there is a curse on them." Nicodemus, who we talked about in John chapter 3, that's John 3:16. Nicodemus, who had gone to Jesus earlier and who was one of their own number, asked, "Does our law condemn anyone without first hearing him to find out what he is doing?" They replied, "Are you from Galilee too? Look into it, and you will find that a prophet does not come from Galilee." So, the question is, does morality matter? The question is, does morality matter? And I get that because here's the context. Jesus is a really good person, and what he says is crazy and unorthodox, but is true. And he backs it up with the way he lives. He does so many things, miracles included, but also just the way he is and the kind of person he is. He is a good person. And in the future, when we read later on in John, he's such a good person that he doesn't make mistakes and that there's no reason to arrest him. There's no reason to actually kill him. He's done nothing wrong. But you see, the Pharisees hated Jesus. They hated Jesus for pointing out their hypocrisy. They hated Jesus for breaking their traditions. They wanted him dead. And they didn't care about his morality. They didn't care about the good things he did. They didn't care about the kind of person he is. They didn't care about the way he was changing people's lives and affecting the world. All they cared about was how Jesus negatively affected what they wanted. Does morality really matter when it comes to Jesus? You see, I think a lot of people don't like Jesus. I think a lot of people don't follow Jesus. I think a lot of people don't trust in and give their lives to Jesus because even though they claim that morality matters, it really doesn't. It's more about what they want. Because if you really test Jesus, if you really put your trust in him and have faith in him, he proves himself. He does. I've never met a person that gave their life to Jesus and then said, "Oh, that was a sham and my life is ruined because of it." I've never seen that happen. And I could be wrong. If that's you and you're watching this right now and I'm wrong, then tell me, message me, comment on here and say you're a liar and you don't know what you're talking about. That's fine. But I've never met a person who trusts and believes in Jesus and follows him and says, that's a waste of time. I hated it. I got nothing out of it and it made my life worse. You see, Jesus is a good person. His teachings are true. But a lot of people turn their back on him because it negatively affects what they want. It negatively affects what they want. The Pharisees wanted everybody to follow their rules. The Pharisees wanted to be out from under the authority of Rome and to have their own authority. They wanted their authority. They wanted their top dogness to be in charge and over Israel and over Jerusalem. That's what they wanted. They didn't actually want salvation. They didn't actually want a Messiah. They wanted their way. And so they sent people out to arrest him and kill him. And the people came back and didn't do what they said, and they got angry about it. Why didn't you arrest Jesus? Why didn't you do what we told you to do? And the guard said, because he's a good guy, because he's done nothing wrong, because what he says is true. We can't arrest him. We can't kill him just because you want us to. Your own laws even say that we can't do that, pointing out their hypocrisy again. They were breaking their own laws to try to get him killed. And so I think a lot of people claim that morality matters. A lot of people claim that I'm more of a good person than I am a bad person, and Jesus was just a good person. But I really want to challenge that, because I think at the end of the day, it's not so much about morality as it is about getting what we want. I think that might be what our desire is, and I'm not preaching at you. It's me too. Whenever I don't depend on Jesus, whenever I turn away from Jesus, and I don't mean eternally, but on the day-to-day, and say I'm going to do whatever I want, that's the point. I'm doing what I want, and I don't choose Jesus because he may or may not give me what I want. But the morality of it doesn't really matter in the end. That's what's happening here. Is Jesus was a perfect specimen. Jesus followed all the rules. Jesus did all the right things, and they actually didn't really care. They actually only cared about them getting what they wanted. So why do we not choose Jesus? Because sometimes he doesn't give us what we want. Why do we not choose Jesus? It's not because his ways are bad. It's not because the Bible is wrong. It's not because he's not good. It's because he's not giving us what we want. So that's my question for you today. Has Jesus given you what you wanted? Has Jesus not given you what you wanted? How has that affected you? Has that made you not believe in him? Has that made you doubt him? Has that made you turn away from him? Or have you ended up trusting him and giving your life to him and seeing that what we want is usually selfish and not good for us in the end, and what he wants for us is better? I can promise you the latter of that is the truth. And if you are on the fence today, I'm just going to reach out to you. If you are on the fence today about trusting and following Jesus, give it a shot. Just give it a chance. Give God a quick prayer and say, this is what I'm dealing with. Can you help me? Even if you've never believed in Jesus before, even if you think religion is stupid, I challenge you to test it, to test Jesus, to open yourself up to be able to just say a quick prayer and say, okay, God, if you're real, help me out in this situation. That's all I would do. So, why do we believe in Jesus or not? That's the question for today. I love you guys. I hope you can help. I hope I can help you wrestle with that. I would love to hear from you, and I just hope that Jesus impacts you and infects you and influences you today for good. Love you. We will see you tomorrow.